I just sent it to you too. So.
Let's see if yours goes.
Yes, I have.
I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Rose.
All right, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice that this meeting was emailed to the Herald News and Record Office of the County Clerk and posted on the PCCC website and bulletin board on July 26, 2021.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. Evelyn, can we have the roll call?
Alumni Rep Martinez. Here. Trustee Drakeford. Trustee Esquiche. Here. Trustee Golden.
Here.
Trustee Montanez Fields. Trustee Moody. Trustee Nutter. Trustee Coe. Here. Trustee Smith. Here. Trustee Trivedi.
Here.
Vice Chair Tanis. Here. Chairman Marco.
Here. Okay. And the first order of business is the consideration of the minutes of the September 21st, 2021 Board of Trustees meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay. Hearing none, may I have a motion on resolution number 1, approval of the September 21st minutes of the meeting?
Move it. Second.
Second. Great. Okay, roll.
Trustee Esquiche. Yes. Trustee Golden.
Thanks.
Trustee Moody.
Yes.
Trustee Coe.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Trustee Trivedi.
Abstain.
Vice Chair Tanis.
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes. Presentation.
All right. Well, I'm going to switch the order here just because Meredith is here tonight, and I want to get her home to her 3 girls. So we'll let her go first. So I think all of you, none of us here, maybe Tina, are a little older, and Ronak, we're some of us are not used to the new world. And the new world of social media and everything else. And, you know, the way we communicate with students has changed so dramatically over the years. You know, there was once a day, not that long ago, where when we wanted to reach students, you put an ad in the newspaper. Well, you know, that does not work anymore. And, you know, even on social media, you know, one of the big things that goes on, and then Meredith is going to talk about it, is, you know, we constantly, you know, people are saying to us, especially some of our faculty or somebody else will say, what are you doing to promote the college? I never see anything about the college. And what we, you know, often say to them is, if you're seeing it, then we're failing. Because, you know, if you're a person, you know, with an advanced degree of a certain age, you shouldn't be seeing our advertising, because that's not who it's aimed at. You know, and people don't always understand that. So we thought we'd have Meredith just give a little idea of how we do some of this stuff and what's going on. So it's all yours.
Thank you, Dr. Rose. Thank you, trustees. As Dr. Rose shared, my name is Meredith Behrens. I am the director of the foundation and marketing here at the college. I've had the opportunity to come and present to the trustees before previously about the foundation and our fundraising. And I'm back today with a different hat or a different set of shoes, and to talk about our digital campaigns, our digital presence. Dr. Rose approached me about talking about the social media that we do, and I kind of jumped at the opportunity to talk really a little bit more broadly, not just about social media, but about our digital ads, about our online presence, right? Because you can't really single out one tactic. They all really have to work together. And so tonight I'm going to take a couple of moments to speak with you about not just social media, but our online ads, our digital campaigns that we do, video that we've done, and also our website. Starting off with social media, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Those are our handles for anyone that does have an account. I encourage you to follow us. And we also have YouTube, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But we use these platforms not just to get messages out to current students and our college community, but also to get messages out to the community at large and to prospective students. So, you know, again, for Facebook, for Instagram, for Twitter, we do things, posts, just pushing information out. And it's usually, right, either it falls under the category of either advertising, maybe there's an open house coming up and we want to let everyone know. But we also do what so many of you might do. I know I do it as a parent. We brag, right? So I'm constantly putting up stuff about my, you know, my girls and my own personal account when someone loses a tooth or someone has a dance recital. And we look to do the same when our students hit milestones, when our graduates, with our students who maybe have achieved something with PTK as a great example, right? We look to post that so everyone can know, right, what we're doing, how great we are. I think that's what lets these platforms really shine, is it allows you that moment to brag about the work that you do. We also look to share content, right? It's about curating content. I think social media allows you to show everyone that you're an expert in your field. So it's not just about pushing out our own stuff and saying, oh, we have this to say to the world, but it's also about looking around at those news articles, at maybe what, you know, the New Jersey Council of Community Colleges is saying, and looking to share their content as well and let everyone know we know how to go out and get information and share it. And lastly, with a boost. So that's when you pay, right? You kind of put money with Facebook and Instagram, and you pay for them to push it out, for them to kind of have your post shown to people. And you'll see that when you're scrolling through, if you have a Facebook or an Instagram account, and you're scrolling through and you see something and it says sponsored, right? It's that ad showing up, and that's because it was paid to get pushed out and for viewers to see. And that usually corresponds with like a learn more button, right? You're trying to push people to your web page. So I want to show you some examples if you haven't seen. We have here all the way over to your left, we have our 2 students who graduated from the medical assistant program. They were the first students to graduate from that program. We captured the moment, we have their picture, we wrote something, right? So again, it's a way to brag about the great work, and we were excited to show off a new program. I also gave you like a little kind of sneak peek, right? What I see on the back end of things, those post insights. So this is an example, because when you do something in marketing, it's helpful to evaluate yourself, right? To kind of see what happened and to check out those analytics. So we also have post insights so that we can see, okay, well, how many people viewed it, how many people shared, what were the, you know, how many people made comments, so that we can gauge what is our community, our audience, like responding to. And that's all part of this, right? It's never just post something and walk away. And lastly, you have an example. You know, our 6B semester is starting November 3rd, so we have an example here of like a post that we might do, again, pushing out an image along with like content on the platforms. So, and then we have online ads, digital. So our campaigns are comprised of several tactics, and I'm excited to share with you all that we've built up to this. We didn't start with this. When we began advertising online with a digital campaign, it started with display ads. Those are static ads. Maybe you would see them on like yahoo.com, right? On the right-hand side, sometimes you see advertising for things. And then native is when it looks like the content on the page. So if you're, you know, on a news website and you see news stories, and then you scroll down and you see something, but if you look really closely, again, it says sponsored, it says advertised. We're also doing video, and that's when we've taken 15 and 30-second videos. These are like really short clips, and we've looked to put them, they become like part of the video content on a page. So if there's a news story that's there, you know, it takes a moment in between with the story, and you see an ad and our video. And then the last item that we've recently implemented, and again, we're really excited about this, is with connected TV, right? So we know people are streaming now between Hulu, ESPN, right? And so those are channels and areas where normally we wouldn't be able to get to, but because of streaming, our ads are able to hit those channels. So so we've added that. Again, we're like really excited. That was something new for us. And this is an example. You see classes start September 1st. This was one of our like fall ads. This was on like weather.com, right, as an example on the side. And then it would click through to our landing page. And here, and that was an example of a video, like again, that 15, 30-second videos that we make, that we push out as part of, as video content on web pages. As Dr. Rose mentioned, oftentimes I will have people stop me in the hallway to say, right, I haven't seen it. Are you doing it? You should be doing it, right? And to that I say, well, you work here, you come here, you're looking to take classes, right? Because it's okay if you don't see it, right? That's what's so great about digital. A billboard and a print ad, those are stationary. If you go by it, you're gonna see it. But digital is all about kind of really targeting an audience, pulling together right place, right time, and really having someone intentionally see an ad. And that's what we're doing. So the day that I am in my office and I am on the web and I see one of our ads, we've got problems, right? So this is a great point to make, and that's why I love it, right? It's really changing, and it's targeted at the users. Something else that we've also, we're also utilizing is a YouTube channel, thanks to the tremendous talent of Chris Muller and his team, right? The college has a YouTube channel. So from a marketing perspective, right, I mean, we put the meetings up there, we put basketball games, but from a marketing perspective, we use the YouTube channel as a repository, really, a place to put all of the video content that we make. So that students, when they're going through, we know individuals use YouTube to find stuff, right? Everyone's trying to how to, right? Everyone can do stuff on their own. So as people search things, right, we want to make sure that our content is there. It makes it searchable. So for everything that we do, every video we make, whether we put it on the web or whether it's part of a digital ad, we look to circle back and to include it, on YouTube. And this is an example. I want to say maybe it was like last spring, we had a virtual open houses as part of the pandemic. We had pathway open houses. So we needed some video content, and this is a short clip, an example of institutional advancement and then go back to school to do culinary arts.
That's funny.
So, you know, it's meant to be engaging, inspiring, really short, kind of to the point, a general overview, right? But it's things like that that we want to push out there and that, you know, we want to share with people. The website. So, as many of you may know, last year, in the middle of a pandemic, nonetheless, we gave the homepage of the college website a big overview, a big overhaul. You know, with the support of Brad and his team and IT, it was huge because we know that all of these digital things that we do, the social media, the digital ads, they all have to go someplace. They all need to click through to someplace, right? And we're still working on that. We just touched the tip of that iceberg. We have much more work ahead of us. I am looking forward to sharing our progress with all of you. But you know, the goal is to make a website that's dynamic, engaging, user-friendly, mobile responsive. Again, we were able to do that to the homepage. It started to push us in the right direction, and we're going to continue that. So that was my snapshot of digital. I want to thank you for the opportunity to come here to share this with you. I am incredibly excited about the work that we are doing. Digital changes every day. There's something new. There's a new app. There's a new platform. There's a new opportunity. So, you know, we constantly have to ask ourselves, you know, what else is there to do? What are we doing? Is it still working? You know, different groups utilize different platforms in different ways, right? So it's also determining who our target audience is, and we're constantly working to achieve that. And I need to say, I am one person, but I am part of a huge team of very talented and creative individuals. Linda Telesco, who's our PR and communications specialist, Paige Saunders, who is our graphic designer. You know, none of this would be possible without their creativity and their talent and their work, and I need to thank them for that. So that's the digital at PCCC, and again, I thank you for that opportunity.
If only Meredith had some enthusiasm.
Hey, can I ask you a question now? Is there any way to, I'm just curious, is there any way to measure the effectiveness of these different types of what you've just showed us?
Yeah, no, that's a great point, right? Because again, we don't want to just do something and then think that it works, right? So I would say each platform kind of has its own set of analytics, right? So social media, like I had shared that post insights that we go in and we check, are people responding, are they engaging? For the digital ads that we do, there are reports that we get back to show our individuals clicking through, right? There's like that click-through rate so that we can see, okay, that the impressions, the ads that people are seeing, they're responding to and they're actually going to our website. And then when they get there, are they clicking on the apply now? Are they clicking on the register now? So all of that is very important, and that's part of the evaluation. So it's never just one and done and you walk away. You constantly have to reassess, right? So, and so we do look at those analytics and use them to make decisions to move forward.
And it's a totally changing, you know, it's a science, but it's a totally changing one. I mean, what works 6 months from now, it'll be different.
That's the reason for the question.
Yeah, and you constantly have to assess, but you know, it's how many students actually click those buttons, how many actually end up applying to the college, and this is all traceable.
It is, and I think that's what's really, you know, like with anything else, right? Evaluation is key. So, and that's why we need to take time to do that, to make sure then that it matches up with the numbers and the things that we're seeing.
And it's a totally different way of, you know, so you used to, if you took an ad in a newspaper, you'd spend, you know, $800 to put an ad, you know, in the paper. This is much different. You know, this can be a matter of pennies that you're spending on certain things to try and, you know, boost something, or you may pay a penny or 2 cents for people who click the button. You don't pay anything if they don't click the, you know, it's all kinds of, you know, different ways of doing it. So it's there's a lot more to it, and it's a lot more complicated, but you're really targeting. I mean, Meredith didn't get into the whole thing, you know, you're really, so I was on a website here from the college a few weeks ago, and I noticed it says now, you know, we're a college, and our pensions mostly come through TIAA and CREF.
Okay.
And I see an ad right on the thing. It says PCCC employees, TIAA CREF. They managed somehow to figure out that it's coming from, that you're on a pccc.edu website, or that we're going to the internet through PCCC, and they've got an ad that comes up from TIA only to go to employees of the college. That's how you could pinpoint.
Such as yourself, yeah.
But that's how you pinpoint. I mean, that's how, and our job is to try and figure out, you know, how to.
That's scary, though.
Totally scary.
That they know who you are and
Yeah.
what
Yes.
you are, where
Yes.
you are, and
You don't think anytime you're on the internet you are not anonymous.
No,
They know exactly who you are and exactly what you're doing, and they're tracking every single thing you're doing, and we try to take advantage of that. And there's a whole business now of people who figure out, you know, how do we reach, you know, we're looking to reach 18 to 22-year-olds. We're trying to reach them in certain zip codes. We're trying to do this, we're trying to do that. And we see what works.
Yes, and it is, you know, I think marketing is effective when it's targeting, when you're making sure you get the right person, like Dr. Rose said, then we can spend our dollars or resources where it counts, and it gives then, I think the results speak for themselves when that happens.
Obviously, political campaigns have started doing this, you know, too, and that's, you know, but it's a question of how good you get at doing this, and there's a lot to learn. But if we can get somebody to click and see one of those ads or see one of those short videos or something like that, that makes a big, big difference.
And it's never just, to add to that, Dr. Rose, it's never just one time, right? The whole point is that, you know, marketing is meant to be repetitive, right? So if someone is watching, you know, streaming something and they see the video that I had, you know, mentioned, okay, that's brand awareness. Like, there's nothing to click through. They're on their couch, you know, just streaming. But when they're in front of their computer, then they see an ad. Maybe they see another ad someplace else, right? So it's like that retargeting that is able to happen, and that's, I think, very critical to the process. Thank
Any other
you very
questions?
much.
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you.
And if I can make one,
Yes, you can.
I have to, because Jen Gasparino is going to be watching this. I said, like I said, normally I'm up here with the foundation, and we have our 5K coming up, and we got our t-shirts in, and we're incredibly excited. So if you want a t-shirt, if you want to participate, we would love to have you. Tell people who are runners, walkers, and just anyone else. It's a great event. We are very close to beating where we were last year. We are like right there.
And we still have
And
a way to go.
yeah,
So,
yeah, so it goes, you know, through to the end of the month,
and what's our goal? How many scholarships?
so we need to beat 20 scholarships. We're awarding 20 scholarships this year because of the event last year, and so we want to, of course, so. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job, Earl.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So going back to the first, in your packet today, we gave you a presentation that many of the staff had here a few weeks ago. Educational Advisory Board, EAB, is a you know a think tank group in Washington that consults on higher ed stuff. Their research is kind of the gold standard for higher education, and you know all types of institutions rely on what they do in order to make decisions for the future. And then they've got some great team of researchers. So we're not going to go through this whole thing. This took 2 hours for the staff to go through. But I think there's some big themes in it in terms of the future of higher ed. As we're starting, I want to introduce the newest member of our team here, Rebecca Royal. Who's here. She was approved by the board, I think, 2 months ago as our Associate Vice President for Enrollment Management. And she comes to us from Union County College, and we know her well, and we're glad she's here. And she certainly is a part of our future, because one of the things that's very clear for community colleges, I don't know if you got a chance to go through this at all, but just to give a few of the highlights, and happy to answer any questions, about any of it. I was going to put it up there. I said it's too small to read for you, so since you all had it, we'll give it to you. Typically what's happened in the past is you can kind of set your watch by community colleges that we were counter-cyclical to the economy. When the economy was not doing well, our enrollments would skyrocket. So, following the recession in 2008, our enrollments kept going up and up, double digits each year, so through the early, through 2012, 2013, our enrollments, just reached an all-time high. Then you saw community colleges, as the economy began to improve all throughout the country, enrollment started to go down. And that's fairly typical. But a lot is changing, and what we're really starting to look at now is what is, and they called it, what is a post-vaccine institution, is how they labeled it, but it goes way broader than that. Just in terms of what are we to expect, because there is a demographic decline. Almost all parts of the country, there was a dip in the birth rate, and you've got high schools, which there are going to be many fewer 18-year-olds coming out of high school in the next 10 years. And this continues for a while. So fewer and fewer students coming out of high school, but what they're talking about is, even older enrollment, you're finding a lot of changes going on, which we never really anticipated, before, and we've got to anticipate, because this is our future, and this is what we're looking at right now. So what we're trying to focus on, and we're at the point in our lives here at the college where we're doing a new strategic plan, and a strategic plan it'll be coming to you, as soon as we get a little further on it to look at it, to help to shape the future. What are we going to focus on? What do we need to do to make sure that this institution thrives going forward? Because we know that changes are going to happen. Students who used to go to community colleges, because of these demographic declines, places like William Patterson up the hill is accepting students who always came here. And places even like Montclair, which has slightly higher standards, I'll call it, in terms of admission. Students who used to come here are also going there because they need to balance their budgets as well. So the next decade is going to be a challenge for all of higher education, and we have to adjust. And what if you go through this, and what it talks about is standing still is not an option. If we stand still, we're going to fall behind. And what we need to do is make it easier for students to go here, be more creative. This pandemic has changed a lot. I think all of us, in our lives, things have changed. Dennis and I were talking before the meeting, how many times has he been to Trenton? In his job, he goes to Trenton a lot. And you used to go once or twice a week, typically.
Sometimes 3.
Sometimes, and how many times have you been there recently?
2, within the last 2 years.
Yeah, okay. That's a huge change, from a couple of times a week to going 2 times in the last couple of years. Now the question becomes is it going to go back to 2-3 times a week? No.
No way.
Well, that's the same for our students. Their expectations of learning are different now. That they are viewing something else. They've seen. Now, one of the things that we found was that when we had to switch to all remote classes where students took their classes on Zoom, the performance of students was not as good. Students were not doing as well. They were, they liked it. They liked the convenience of being able to be home and you know, not have to put pants on and, take their classes. But it's very different. And, while some thrived at it, some did very well, many did not. And when we analyzed the grades of our students, we saw them going down. But in terms of what students are going to be looking for, students are going to be demanding more flexibility. And that's all the stuff that they're talk about in here. They're going to be wanting to look at other modalities of learning. You have seen through the months when we've come to you for approval of how we're spending some of the federal funds. We've converted how many classrooms now, Chris?
35.
35 classrooms, now have the ability where a student and Jackie did a presentation to you last month or the month before on our different types of classes we're running. So these concurrent classes, where a student could be sitting in the classroom, but they also could be sitting at home, some doing it at the same time the class is going on, and that these classes would be also taped. So if a student wants to watch the class again, they're going to be able to. There's a lot of research out there, and it's showing that students who have that type of flexibility are more engaged and more likely to do well. Students are also looking for flexibility in terms of, shorter semesters and different types of things. So this fall, really for the first time, we have 15-week classes, we have 12-week classes, and then we have 2 6-week semesters that are going on. Our 12-week and our 2 6-week semesters have gone through the roof in terms of enrollment. And we need to analyze this, and everything is data and analytics and taking a look. But a lot of research is showing, so if a student is taking 4 classes during a semester, rather than taking 4 classes over 15 weeks, if they take 2 classes at a time, back to back, research is showing that they do much better. Because they're only concentrating on 2 topics at one time. They're never going to have 4 finals in 1 week. They're going to end up, the maximum is 2 finals in a week that they can be studying for at any given time. And research is showing that students do better at that. But that's really changing a lot of how we operate here and how we provide services to students. So we are trying to figure this out. And we're spending a lot of time trying to figure it out. And I'm going to ask Jackie or Rebecca or anybody here, anything to add to that? I did it correctly.
You did a good job. I can't think of anything, although we know that it's not just us changing of the other 17 community colleges. We know that they are also going to be doing concurrent classroom.
Yeah, what's happening, if we don't change, we're going to fall behind. And, it's very clear that and these are pretty dramatic changes. This is not simple stuff.
Page 16 is pretty interesting. 70% of high school seniors say higher ed is not worth the course they
Yep.
have. Yeah, wow. that's
Yep.
a
And there's definitely, I'm not sure it's in here, but there's a bigger issue with males than females. More males are definitely saying that higher education, is not. And then you've got this whole thing with the pandemic. We saw this fall that our new students who entered the college were not as prepared for college as previous students. And that's always been an issue with students not being prepared. But this year they were even, because remember, in the past year and a half, they had a lot of time they weren't in class. But, as hard as, K-12 is going to work hard to catch these students up, catching up is not going to be easy. And remember, this is, I know, look, we have a preschool here at the college, and, we take it very seriously, but I will tell you, no one is going to tell you that the 110 students who go here, the 3 and 4-year-olds who go to the college, had the same experience in the past year and a half that they had previously. And, and we all know the importance of preschool education, and, we tried our best doing remote things with 3 and 4-year-olds, but guess what? It's not as good. 3 and 4-year-olds do not learn that way in the same way. So, if all the research that we've shown of how important preschool is, and now you have a whole bunch of students who, are going to go to kindergarten and first grade and second grade, they're going to be behind, when they hit kindergarten, and they're going to be behind when they hit, and the current fourth graders now are, who go into fifth grade, and we have some of our educators here. One of the options, we probably would have been better off, this personal opinion, leaving all these students back a year, but that's never going to happen. It's just not something that's ever going to happen. So, but in reality, that would have probably been the best thing we could have done. Is just have everybody, repeat the year. So now, teachers are going to be doubly challenged for the next couple of years of trying to catch these students up to make sure whatever they're supposed to learn at the end of fourth grade, that they are there, and whatever is at the end of fifth grade, they are there, and that is not going to be easy for anybody. And for the ones in high school, they even have less time to catch them up. If you were a sophomore or junior right now, chances are you're going to graduate as a senior, and you're probably not going to be where you would have been a few years ago. And that's going to affect us probably for the next decade in terms of what we have to do. And we're spending a lot of time every day talking about this and trying to figure out how are we going to be able to keep up with this, because it's not easy.
I was looking at this morning, and you alluded to this a little while ago. Do you anticipate if this Build Back Better bill from Biden passes with the 2 years of free community college, there's going to be a big competition around here, around everywhere for students?
That's
what it seemed to indicate.
Well, that's a loaded question, and that's.
I understand it doesn't certain about what's going to pass.
Well, so we're studying this very closely, and we're trying to figure out. Everyone's trying to figure out how exactly it's going to work. So the good news is, obviously, we've done the Community College Opportunity Grant, CCOG in New Jersey. It's, anyone with 65,000 or under can go for free, and that's in New Jersey. And getting the word out has proven to be a challenge. Despite all the social media campaigns and all the other stuff that all the colleges are doing, getting the word out, students still are walking into our admissions office and saying, I never heard of that. And that's just normal. That's not. Now, if we get to a national community college is free kind of thing, that's going to be very powerful. And that's going to really, hopefully it's going to change the calculus a little, and students are going to think, however, I think we, especially here in a state like New Jersey, are very concerned. I'm trying to think of how to say it, about exactly how this would work and how it's going to affect us. More or less, colleges in the South community colleges in the South are much less expensive than we are in other parts of the country. In some states, basically it's, in California, it's still almost for free.
Tennessee, Tennessee is out.
So how does Congress, who is dealing with, all 50 states and Puerto Rico, probably the Virgin Islands as well, going to figure out how do we make, it's not going to be as simple as to say, okay, PCCC, you've been collecting this amount of tuition for years, so we're just going to replace all that. No, that's not how this is going to work. The states are partners in this thing, and a state like New Jersey that has higher than average tuition based on where we are is going to have to kick in a lot of money. The state of New Jersey is going to have to kick in a lot of money to have free community college. The way the bill is written right now, this is going to be optional for states whether to participate or not.
Really?
And it is going to be a huge lift and commitment for a state like New Jersey in order to do this. So, for example, what does it mean, you've got a county like Passaic where our Board of Commissioners is incredibly supportive of the college, but that is not true in every county. I'll pick one, Burlington County. provides much, much less to their college, and always has, than Passaic County. Well, how does that factor into the formula in terms of the maintenance of effort for your county if community college becomes free? So while we love the concept, and certainly, it's not the kind of thing we can actively say we don't want to see happen, because obviously we agree that we want community college to be available for every student. We're very concerned about how this could possibly be implemented at this time, and really, in the long term, what will be the impact on us, and will we actually be starved for funding if this actually happens? So it's a dual-edged sword right now, but clearly, if it starts sending the message to everyone who's in 5th grade that you can go to your community college for free, and they know that in 5th grade, hopefully what it's going to do is tell people, yes, you can go to college, and everyone will understand that college is in your future, and that could do a lot to boost our enrollments. That's a lot to it. Any other questions? Again, this was a 2-hour presentation, but I wanted you to have the slides to get a sense of the kind of stuff we're talking about every day, and the kind of stuff that goes into our planning. And we are committed. Also, one of the things in here, it talks about places like Google, which is getting into the higher ed business. They're not offering degrees; they're offering certificates. And in many cases, they're going to do it for free. And, this has been happening in the IT world for a long time now, where, people have figured out going to college is really not the way I get my education. I want to learn VMware, or I want to learn this, or I want to learn that, and they go out and get, very competitive and hard to earn certificates in these things, but they don't need to do it during a 15-week semester. They go and, Brad, or Chris, you want to?
Yeah, they could take a 2-week class and take an exam, and they can get a certification and go and earn $70,000, $80,000 a year without going to college. So the demand is there, the jobs are there.
And people are figuring that out, and cutting into we're kind of still stuck. Because even though we're trying to be more flexible, financial aid rules are not changing. So students, yes, we could offer, within a traditional 18-week period of our fall semester, we can offer 2 6-week sessions, or we can offer a 12-week, but it still has to be within that period of time in order for students to get financial aid. And we still have, the credit hour system that was in place when all of us went to college is still there. Credit, you still, if you take a 3-credit course, it meets for 2 hours and 40 minutes a week. And that hasn't changed since any of us, were in school. And, that's not necessarily great. We're kind of have our hands tied when we're trying to make changes right now, because there's certain things that just can't change.
Dr. Rose, how is that different today? Because that sounds like a technical or vocational, an apprenticeship of today.
Yep.
This is almost like an apprenticeship. You were competing with plumbers that went to go learn trades by mentoring other plumbers, by being mentored by other plumbers, or a carpenter, right? So the competition type has changed, but I could have chose to go and just follow my father around and become a carpenter, right?
Right.
And then it was a choice of becoming a tradesperson through an apprenticeship or just a mentorship, or I could go to college. So we had different competitive things. When I was in high school, now 20 years ago, it's crazy, right? Even right 20 years ago, we had a CCNA program, Cisco Certified Network Administrator, from the high school that said you can go make $70,000, and that's back then. Imagine $70,000 there. So we had those opportunities. So we're still competing. It seems like the competition is just different.
But
right?
here's what's interesting. So we've been meeting a lot with the trades, with the unions, the carpenters and those kind of people. And what they're telling us is yes, all these opportunities are there, but parents, especially of middle-class kids, still want their kids to go to college and shy away from apprenticeship programs and shy away from becoming carpenters and shy away from doing that. So they're coming to us and saying, we want to work with you and we want you to do prior learning assessment, PLA, on the apprenticeship program. So if you go, and we have a degree here, which is kind of a catch-all called technical studies degree. And what we've been, and it hasn't gone very well. We've been trying to do this for a decade now, where the unions are asking us to help with the parents who would feel much more comfortable if they become an apprentice, but also get their college degree at the same time, even though they don't really need it. But they would feel much more, good about that for their kids. And we're working, with a lot of the apprenticeship programs to try and do that, give prior credit for what you learned during the apprenticeship, and then have to take credits here in order to get a technical studies degree.
Didn't one union actually get allowed to do certification?
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
I think in Hudson
Yeah,
County.
no, the engineers,
The
yeah.
engineers,
Yeah.
The operating engineers.
Yeah,
That's a real struggle, Dr. Rose, where parents want kids to go to college and they're like, I'm not really into it. I mean, I dealt with that.
yeah.
So, he graduated from college, but he's not using it now. He's doing IT work and, but here's the paper, Mom.
But this is where the changes are coming in, and this is where this is all going to shake out, and then you've got the Googles and all the other things that are offering, training and badges and certificates, and everybody calls it something else these days. But we're going to have to integrate our learning with that. We're going to have to recognize some of these certificates and badges and the legitimate ones, and evaluate which ones should be given advanced standing here, should be given credit for what they have done. And that's not easy for us to do or figure out, or it's a whole new world. Merrill is not going to like having to have all these students coming to her with all these crazy certificates and badges and saying to her, I don't want to take this class from you, I already know this stuff. And Merrill goes, how do I know you know this stuff? And it's not easy. I mean, this is
We actually do that with a number of the Microsoft certificates.
yeah. But there are thousands, Microsoft is easy. The American Council of Education has evaluated all the Microsoft stuff. They actually tell you what it's worth. And they kind of tell you how many credits you should give for it. But there's new ones popping up every day. And but if we don't get good at this and we don't do it, we're going to fall behind. And if the neighboring college does it and we don't, it's not a question of we can say at this point, we're going to skip that and we'll just keep doing what we're doing, or else, we're not going to be here. And that's really, what's going on these days.
Keep this intermediate.
So it's a new world, and we gotta stay up on it. So we thought that would be interesting for you if you look at this and have any questions on any of this. But there's really good stuff here, and it's while this was geared towards community colleges, it talks about all the colleges, and it's looking tough for everybody right now. And many of our private colleges in the state, I'm not sure what their future is right now. This just happened today, and I think some of you know I'm a trustee like you at Bloomfield College. I've been for about 12 years now, a trustee there. And if you go to their website today, they have posted a press release that came out about 2 o'clock this afternoon, basically saying we may not be in business much longer. And that after 150 some odd years, we either have to find a partner or we may not be able to take a class next year. and basically went this route of going public with it. They had a town hall meeting at the college today to announce it to all the faculty and staff, but basically to say there's really no path for us right now without finding another institution to merge with, partner with, unless, somebody wants to step up and give us a lot of money. But even getting a lot of money right now will only extend the runway a year or two or three. But, they're the only predominantly black institution in the state, and who has this federal designation as has been serving, and it is a wonderful, wonderful college. But their enrollment, basically dropped from about 1900 to about 1300 right now, and it's been pretty much of a steady slope down. They're more like a community college than they are another type of college, and they're so if you happen to go to their website tonight, you'll see a press release and some frequently asked questions, and they are going public about that they're trying to survive, and here's what we need to do to survive.
And they're only the first of a number of...
They are the first of many who are going to have this problem. This is not, they're trying to be responsible about it. I'm on board there, so I'm trying to help them be responsible because, we have an obligation to your students, and you have to, you have to make plans that you just can't take a new class of students and not allow them to finish. And this is an institution that's been here since the 1850s, 1860s. That's this is where we are right now. I mean, this is, and there's about 5 others in the state, which I don't think are. I think Bloomfield's just being more responsible about going public about it earlier. They still have plenty of money in the bank. There's still, $20 million in the endowment. It's not like, they're out of money today, but, the trajectory is not good. And
So you just said something that kind of sparked my interest. You said that Bloomfield College is predominantly black, so maybe you should try to find a historically black college or university to partner with you, because New Jersey really doesn't have any.
right.
That's right.
So that would be like a great opportunity. And since Kamala came on,
Yep.
HBCUs have been very popular.
Well,
You might have avenue that way.
Yeah, up to today, I had, as a board member, I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement about 4 or 5 months ago where I couldn't talk about any of this till today. But, have actively been soliciting HBCUs and have been soliciting colleges outside the state, inside the state, to try and partner with, and have had some, but these things take a while, and unfortunately, they don't have a while. They don't have a couple of years to work this out, and felt that they had to accelerate the look for it. But yes, I mean, the thought is we've got a beautiful campus in Bloomfield, New Jersey, a couple miles from here. That's 12 miles outside of New York City, and there are many colleges around the country who should love to have presence, right outside of New York City on a ready-made campus, but this is not easy. This is, it makes sense for colleges becoming, having the courage of some colleges to step up and do something like this is hard. But this is where higher ed is right now. This is what's going on, and you're just gonna, keep hearing these things going on at this point. In Delaware, there's a small college, Wellesley. It's not the Wellesley. It has a similar name. Has merged a small private college, a predominantly white college, has merged with Delaware State University, which is an HBCU. So we've got a private college merging with a historically black college, but they happen to be 1 mile from each other. Okay, 2 totally different types of schools that are 1 mile from each other, and they have now, basically, this is now a campus of Delaware State University. Only Delaware State is the surviving institution here. but it's a way of, they figured it out there, and they, as of July 1st, created a new situation, but unfortunately, there are not as many examples of happy endings when it comes to this stuff as there are of, institutions just shuttering themselves. And
Takes alumni to keep them running.
Yeah.
it does, but alumni itself can't do it.
No, but
That-
it takes a lot of them to really give back. A lot of people don't give back, and
But when you start talking about, needing $10 million extra a year, extra, not.
But some people don't give back at all. And I
Okay.
mean, that's the big part.
Yeah.
And don't give every year, every something. Give the year you graduated. Give something.
Yep.
That little bit adds up, and you can
Yep.
do it monthly, you can do it weekly, you can do whatever, something. But some people never give back.
Yep.
And this is the institution that made you or helped you, whatever
Yep.
the case may be, and that's a big part of keeping the institutions alive.
Right.
And we don't give back. We don't give back.
And, look, even here, and Meredith is still here, we, when the pandemic hit, we knew our students were going to need a lot of help in order to get through this. And, we set out the goal of creating 500 new scholarships, and we have now exceeded that goal of creating 500 new scholarships for our students, and people just both our alumni, but people from the community and businesses and other foundations stepped up and really, people really stepped up. And, we now have, this is probably the first fall ever that we can honestly say to every student, you don't have to worry about finances to come here. I don't think we've ever been in such a good situation as we are right now that, to be able to say to students, with all the federal support and everything else going on, we can, don't let finances stand in your way. That's a powerful message, but our enrollment is down this fall. Not as far down as it was last year, but it is still down, despite, all of our incredibly strong efforts to not let that happen. But, so I thought this would be a good dose of reality for everybody.
Depressing is the
Now
word.
that-
Depressing.
Now that you brought us all down.
Well, I didn't mean to bring it down. I meant it to show you that we're on top of this, and that this is what we're talking about every day, and we're not going to let,
No, the
we're not going
slides
to
were
let this stop
depressing.
us.
The slides themselves were. I was looking at this afternoon, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, tonight.
You just made it worse.
Yeah, but it's to assure you that we're not standing still.
I get it.
And the thing is, if we stand still,
In trouble, I understand.
if we stand still 5 years from now,
We're gonna be with Bloomfield.
we're going to be coming to you saying that we need to declare a financial exigency, and
Exit strategy.
which gives us an ability to, void all our labor contracts and get rid of people and do this and that, and we're not going to do that because we're going to be on top of this and we're going to get through it. But
Well, I think we're better positioned than some of the other schools.
Essex County College already did that,
Yeah.
and William Patterson has been laying off tenured faculty from their place, and dozens of them in the past 2 years, and we're.
Well, it's funny, Bloomfield's probably going to trigger a lot of other colleges that are in desperate shape to think about that. I was up on the campus of Sacred Heart University about 3 weeks ago, and one of the people that I was with was asking the president of the college if he was interested in perhaps merging with a college in New Jersey. And you just think about, the contact there, and this was coming from the chairman of the board from the New Jersey school, raising the questions.
Yep.
So I think
There's a lot.
there's a trend. Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's going to be changing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Rebecca had to sit through my class in higher ed finance as part of the Rowan program a couple of years ago, so she heard me ranting and raving, about this a couple of years ago, but it's becoming more real now.
It is.
I mean, some of the stuff that I talked about back then, which I thought was going to happen, is happening now. So
Okay.
strap in.
That's it.
Yep. All right, academic items.
Want to go post-vaccination?
That's what that was. Yeah. So we got the Sussex County Community College, Passaic County Community College Nurse Education contract. This is just one of the programs that's cited as a model in New Jersey. There aren't many of them where, we are offering our nursing degree on the Sussex County campus. We bring this to you every 2 years for renewal, and it's just a great program. It's a win-win for us and for Sussex, and part of the strategy going forward is to try and do more of these types of things with other colleges to try and stay ahead. So we certainly recommend that to you. Purchases of goods and services, we have one that we have handed out. We handed it out.
Yes, it's in their packet.
You already had it. It's an interesting one. We put out a bid a couple of weeks ago to repave our Wanacue campus and some paving here in Patterson, and we got the response was, as you see from here, one was 1.4 million and one was, I don't have it in front of me. 869. So you start wondering, and why it's late here is our architect has been trying to evaluate this and make sure that the person who bid 869 will actually do the job and can get it done. And we spent this afternoon trying to, and he checked some references today and seems totally legitimate at this point.
Is there a surety bond
Yes,
involved
yes,
in
yes,
it?
yes.
Promise bond? Okay.
Yes, yes,
Okay, that's,
yes, yes. Yeah, look, we never want to go that
Apparently the issue
route.
was, I didn't know this until today, there was a difference in asphalt. There was a summer asphalt and a winter asphalt.
that's a big one, though. That's a big
Well,
deal.
apparently it is. There is a big difference
In terms of the cost.
in terms of the cost. And the high bidder apparently based his bid on winter asphalt, the low bidder on summer asphalt. And the window for summer asphalt closes
November.
mid-December.
Yeah.
That's it, November 15th, right?
They've extended it. I
Yeah.
think,
Used to be November, all right.
Global warming.
Yeah.
It used to be November
Right.
15th.
So
Yeah, I got
apparently
it.
that accounts for it. The architect did a lot of good due diligence to make sure that we weren't going to end up with a job half done and chasing after the bonding company.
You're talking about Steve, huh?
Yes. So Stephen was part of this all day today and trying to figure this out this afternoon, and we feel,
Ready to award, like, immediately, yes.
Yep, that's why we're bringing it to you tonight.
Now, which parking lot are you talking about in Paris?
In Patterson, it's the Ellison Street lot where you usually park over there. That it's got a sinkhole in it right now. So
Does indeed.
we need to pave that, and Wanacue is 20 years old, and there's we've been filling in potholes up there for a while, and it needs paving. So
20 years old already, wow.
20 years,
Now, the question,
21,
question on the winter pavement
yeah.
and summer?
It's a different type of asphalt.
It's a different type of asphalt.
Yeah, I
It's
know,
a-
but which one is, which
We're getting
asphalt
some.
is more appropriate?
It doesn't matter. It's
Doesn't
the
matter?
What's
it's the
available.
time of year you put it down. So if you're trying to put, if it's 20 degrees out and you're trying to lay asphalt, you have to have a different grade of asphalt to do it. Nobody wants to, you try not to pave in the colder months. You try to do all your
Yeah, it's much
paving,
more
but you
expensive.
can. And I remember when we opened the campus, based on the timing of everything, we were paving in December
I remember.
and January in order to
Cold
open.
patch is what they call it,
Yeah.
yes.
That's where I learned there was a different
That was
grade
cold
of
patch.
asphalt.
All right,
Certain
No, I
asphalt
got that
plants
straight.
shut down and they do not get into the winter asphalt.
Yeah, it's
type
also the
thing.
price
They
of
only
oil. Price of oil, that shoots it up too. More oil is, the more expensive it is. too.
Yep. Mike, you want to talk about the shared services and MOU?
Yeah, sure. So the shared services agreement, the fire academy up at the PSA is in need of having vehicles repaired. The prior vendor was very expensive.
Vehicles meaning like fire trucks.
Like fire trucks, yeah, big rigs. And apparently the borough of Paramus has a lot of experience in this. Their pricing was right, and they reached a deal with the borough of Paramus
This got delayed a little bit because the Borough of Paramus thought they had to send everything to the county. County council contacted me and said, do you know anything about this? So we finally got it finalized, and that's the shared services agreement. The MOU with the city is similar to the MOU we did a couple of years ago for the chief data officer and the chief information officer. This time the TAP Foundation is willing to fund the cost of a director of policy and planning for the city, at least on tryout basis till the end of June. Same thing as before. They will grant the money to our foundation will give us the money. We will hire the director in concert with the city. We will then loan the director to the city. One of the benefits that we get out of this again is internships for our students. I know that right before the pandemic hit, we were working on, they were hiring interns, some of our students as interns. I honestly don't know what's happened during the pandemic, if we've had any, but now that we're coming out of it, I hope that that's picking up again. So, yes.
Same as last time, who is going to be doing the hiring? Are you on the committee again to do the hiring?
We haven't gotten that far.
Oh, we haven't gotten that.
But it'll be done the same way.
It'll be done a similar way.
Okay.
And they
Our
actually
search
report directly to me.
It's a pass-through, right? Is that what it is?
Totally pass.
Yeah, that's what I
Totally
thought. It looked like, that's what it looked
Yes.
like to me.
It's
We
totally
will get,
It's a pass-through.
we get the salary plus the benefits, plus some money for interns.
That's what, it's pass-through, that's what.
But it also, the Taub Foundation, which does wonderful work around, is very thankful to the college for doing this for the city, and is certainly interested in helping us with some other things by doing it. So the Taub Foundation are great people, and it's wonderful that we're able to help as
The quid pro.
doing a part of this. So, yeah, it's good stuff. All right, in personnel, just wanted to bring one thing, to your attention that's to us at the college is a big deal. We've got a retirement of Professor Mosley. Some of you know Professor Ed Mosley, who's been here since 1979. I don't think it's even debatable that he is, during his top 42 years here, he's clearly probably been our most popular professor during that period of time. I mean, he teaches more students a year than anyone else, and he is, just recently let us know that he's going to be retiring in January, and this is truly the end of an era here at the college. Just one of the most dedicated people we've ever had. We'll be saying more about it in a future board meeting, but I didn't want to just go through tonight without mentioning it. He's been a fixture at this college, since 1979, and just a wonderful guy. So we're sad to see him retire, but at some point in your life, I guess you have to retire. So thanks.
Amen to that.
Yeah. But a big deal for PCCC. He's touched more students than anyone. And I will say right now, we'll be coming back to you next month to offer emeritus status, which is something we do for very few faculty, but there's no question in my mind that he has earned that honor for the college. So we'll be coming back to you with that. But, big deal.
Did you want to mention the vaccine policy that has been received?
Yeah, I'll just, we debated and you passed a policy for the college going forward for vaccines, and I will tell you the response has been overwhelmingly positive. I am sure there are some people in the college who might not like it, but they haven't said it yet. But I will tell you that most people, after it got out, and I actually, the night of the last board meeting, I sent something out to the college community, and a lot of people wrote back to me. People, came up to me the next couple of days and just overwhelmingly feel that's the right way for us to go. And we are still monitoring you know, all of the legal and perk decisions that are out there concerning, you know, vaccines to try and make sure, you know, we don't have to alter some of the things in it if some rulings come down. But right now, as of now, everything's good. And I think we can proceed as we discussed last month, but we're just waiting a couple weeks to put out the final details of it, just to make sure that nothing's, you know, we're not going to have to nuance anything at that point.
Okay, no need for an executive
Nope.
session. And we're going to go right to approving consent resolution number 3. Following items as set forth in the memoranda dated October 19, 2021. A, the SCCC, PCCC nurse education contract. B, the purchases of goods and services, which include the shared service agreement, MOU with the City of Patterson and PCC Foundation. First reading of Board Policy C-202, purchases.
No, that's off the
Is
agenda.
that off the agenda?
I didn't take it off the script.
That's okay. No problem. And personnel actions as listed in the personnel action memorandum. May I have a motion to approve that?
I'll move it.
Second?
Okay.
Second, okay, roll.
Trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
trustee Skiche,
Yes.
trustee Golden,
Yes.
trustee Martinez de Ogenay,
Yes.
trustee Moody,
Yes.
trustee Phelps, trustee Smith,
Yes.
trustee Trubetti,
Yes.
trustee Tanner,
Yes.
chairman Marco.
Yes. Okay, are there any remarks from the trustees?
Yes.
No?
Yes,
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 yeah.
yes.
Oh, okay.
I have a couple.
Yes.
Yes.
So, a couple. One, I wanted to share with everyone, I don't know if some of you know, but I have a startup, and our startup has been growing, and we've hit a couple milestones, and I needed a couple people to help me as we're growing. I've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and I needed folks to take some of that load off of me. So I reached out to Dr. Rose about 2 weeks ago, and I said, Dr. Rose, can you send me 2 students? It could be recent grads, it could be students, whoever you think fits this mold. It's like an IT-esque job where we need them to do configuration, and then I want them to grow, and as they're growing, they're going to take over the operations, supply chain, and as we grow, I want them to grow. We talked about it 2 weeks ago. He reached out to Mr. Moore.
Tom Moore.
Yeah, I call him Mr. Moore because he was very helpful, and then he reached out to Professor Cameron, and 2 days later, I had Joanna, I don't remember her last name. Joanna started, and she has been amazing, okay? Amazing. I'm thinking, and I'll be very honest, I'm thinking she's the cream of the crop, so, but the fact is, if this is the cream, it's freaking amazing, okay? Right? I'm not saying that she's the standard, but I will tell you, she is amazing. I have someone else starting Monday, and they reached out to me, they were professional. I didn't even look at the resume, because when Mr. Moore, Tom, and Professor Cameron, I had full trust. I have full trust in everyone, every single administrator here, every single person here. So I said, I don't need to look at the resume. And that is my baby. This company we've been working on has been there for 4 years, and it's growing fast. So again, I'm trusting them with one of my kids almost, right? But she has been amazing. So I want you guys to all know that the students here are amazing. I just can't keep saying that enough. So I want to give out a shout out to everyone in the career development program, and specifically Joanna, Professor Cameron, and Mr. Moore. That being said, I have the unfortunate news I have to share that today will be my last meeting. I have to resign. We are moving out of the city of Passaic and moving to Morris County. We looked heavy, and you guys might believe it or not believe it, but we looked at a house in Wayne a lot. We looked at a house in a lot throughout Passaic County. We just couldn't find one where we could afford the taxes and afford the house. And those are the things that you have to be able to pay for, right? So we started doing that, and that's what extended our tour, our home buying because I was steadfast in buying a house in the county. I've lived at the same house for 30 years, so that's my whole life. Just so you guys realize, that's like 90% of my life, that we live in the same house, and now we're moving because it's time for change, and my wife wants to buy a house that's hers, not my mother's. Right? So that's the truth, right? And so we're moving, and I want to tell you guys, all starting with Dr. Rose and Barbara specifically. Dr. Rose, you have taught me so much, so much, so much, so much, so much, right? I've learned so much. I want to say thank you to everyone on the board, because you come here to work, you come here to help, but I've been selfish. I've gained a lot more than I have given to this institution. I've learned so much from each of you. You guys have all been very helpful in my development and in my becoming a better human. And I appreciate what you guys do for the college. I appreciate what you guys did for me, and please continue this on. And I'm proud to have been part of this team, and I look forward to finding a way to be still involved. So thank you all. That's all. Thank you.
I think we have the next tagline for the Facebook.
Joanna's amazing.
Yeah.
We'll figure out a way. We're gonna start marketing it too, because I'm telling you, outside I gave her the work, and I have a full-time job too, so I can't be micromanaging. I have to trust her. She's in my house. She says hi to the baby says hi to auntie, right? So I couldn't have expected or hoped for a better integration, a better learn. I was thinking it's gonna take her a couple weeks just to put out 1 device or 2 devices, and she's already put out 20. Just so you guys know, in a week, she did tell me today, she's worked 18 hours. I was like, whoa, that's good. It got quick, but she's been amazing, and that's all. So you guys know, right?
That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
You will be missed.
No, thank you. I will miss this.
And we will find a way to keep you involved with the college. We've talked about this, and we will find a way.
Yes, but I look forward to being involved in every way possible, so thank you. And I tell you guys, I talk a lot, so I'm going to tell you one other story. I came here when I was in 8th grade or 7th grade, and that was the first college ever. And my brother was sitting, and like you said, oh, do I send him to college or do I not send him to college? And my brother didn't want to go to college. I never wanted to work in my life. I still don't want to work. I still want to go to school, right? And we went, and I still remember nothing so close will take you so far. And that was a tagline of something else when I was here for that. And it's this has been home indirectly or directly for so long, and I appreciate that. So that's all.
And you told, I think, both Senator Menendez and Senator Booker that story when we were in Washington once.
Yeah.
Facts.
Yep.
That was a time when we had Yahoo waiting for us outside or something like that.
Yeah, and he was talking to us.
Yeah.
I have to leave.
Yeah, we have someone else is here. Okay, get out.
Okay, are there any other remarks from the trustees? We don't have anybody from the public, right?
No.
Public? Nothing from the staff? Okay. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll.
Trustee Drakeford?
Yes.
Trustee Speed?
Yes.
Trustee Glover?
Yes.
Trustee Montanez Diodene?
Yes.
Trustee Moody?
Yes.
Trustee Poe?
Yes.
Trustee Smith?
Yes.
Trustee Trivedi?
Yes.
Vice Chair Taylor?
Yes.
Chairman Marco?
Yes. Thank you, everyone. Have a great week. Close.
Federal money.